So, what conscious minds have to realize is that consciousness and the game played inside of consciousness is situational. It's always a situation that consciousness has to get out of. You can escape anything in this realm. You can manage to manipulate and escape anything inside of consciousness, inside of this realm. But consciousness cannot escape itself. So for consciousness to realize if you really are a powerful being and becoming more conscious, you'll need to know how to operate. You'll need to know how to have a button in your mind, a compartment built in your mind to push and relieve the pain. I've had nights and days where my head was pounding just from information and just thinking rationally, critical thinking, and having that off button really comes in handy while you're building your intelligence and consciousness. But for you to realize that consciousness is always trying to get out of a situation. This is why games are built. This is why they're able to manipulate the mind and make these kids think that the games are real. They can sit for 12 hours on the game because they know that consciousness cannot escape itself. So what better way to hide itself within itself than with a game, with a situational outcome that makes you think that you can actually beat it or escape every level. If you find yourself in a dark place consciously, you know there's a light sown within you to combat any dark cycle of visualizations that end up as psychosis and end up taking over your entire body and end up leaving you vulnerable to be manipulated. You'll need to know that the situation is amplified when you're in a dark place. What does that mean? It makes consciousness think the game is even more real than it is, allowing it to manipulate you even further. So it's important for us becoming conscious to stay at a neutral standpoint and stay out of the sign. The ups and downs, the false positivity, and the low vibrational dark thoughts that could lead to our ruin. It's important for us to stay out of the sign or sin in life. It's important for us to realize that because consciousness is always situational, it's always trying to get out of a situation. If you find yourself into a bad situation or a really dark situation, or what you consider to be dark, then everything becomes amplified. Like your mind begins to stress, you begin to overwork and produce more dark visualizations, causing a level of psychosis. So it's important for us to be very in tune with ourselves, self-love and self-care, accessing a higher state. No one knows. And that's just us being conscious beings. And that's self-love. And that's the reality that was here before entities introduced the law or the commandments, the covet. Because without that, there would be no sin, there would be no struggle, apparently, according to the Bible. So it's difficult to wrap our mind around why all this is happening in the first place. If consciousness and God is so powerful, then why is all this allowed to go on? Why are we in a realm where you need energy? You need to kill something to get energy. Why are we in a realm with, it seems like we know consciousness can't escape itself, but we're in a realm with entities who have learned how to manipulate consciousness and achieve multidimensional slavery in order to keep us oppressed. So, being able to see through reality and still operate within it is not easy. So, I'm struggling right now, for instance, with even caring. Like, there's a high possibility and a high chance that my car got impounded with expired registration, no insurance, because I stopped playing the game. Like, you're literally just giving them money to pay for other people's accidents. It's all a scam. So, but as soon as you stop playing, you become a target. And this is how we're indoctrinated from this high, since we're children, into a cult, and then anyone within the cult is programmed to recognize consciousness. And then you become a target no matter where you're at in the society. Your free individual thought pattern will never fit into a society who is brainwashed. So seeing the oppression, like they pulled me over and took me out of my car, you know what I mean? Like, and left me on the side of the road with no phone, nothing. So you feel oppressed as a man. That's really traumatizing. They want to make you feel oppressed. They want to get you back into the pain and reward cycle. They want to get you back into a state of, let me just go get my license and registration, and then I'll go get it out, and then I'll be good for a little bit. And then they want you to keep playing the game. And right now, I'm just losing interest. Like, consciousness is so situational. I have rent due. Everybody knows it's not a healthy decision to give up everything you have, especially everything that you've worked for. Because if you're homeless, then the streets and the demons on the street the Matrix will literally siphon more energy from you. So nobody who is actually a good person with good intentions on this earth should even have to visualize being homeless or being without or being discarded. So your state of non-detachment and developing your state of non-detachment becomes highly important, because you realize that a wise man will do what a wise man is supposed to do, regardless of what fools do, regardless of what the fools do to him, regardless of how they look at him, regardless of the projection that they put onto you. So I'm at a point where I'm thinking about giving it, I just don't care. There's something in me that just cannot care about certain things. And since consciousness is so situational, it will try to heighten and intensify the reality to get you pulled back in. This is why the sages are held at such a high regard, because they practice the state of detachment, the state of the highs and lows that you do not own, good or bad, that you remain at a point of neutrality while operating and navigating this universe, this experience. So whether we're oppressed or not, to be solution-based, we have to look at ways to bring our enlightened and truly conscious people together on a powerful level to make moves of solution. Moves of solution to learn how to navigate this reality. Love and light.